Thank you for tuning in to the Natty News Daily podcast. This episode is brought to you in part by our sponsor, Core Nutritionals. You can check out corenutritionals.com for all your supplement needs and use code Natty News Daily at checkout to save 20%. Enjoy the episode.
What's going on, people? Welcome to another episode of Natty News Daily. We've got Mr. Chris MacKenzie on, the president of the WPA. Welcome to the podcast, my man.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, good to be here. Second time on, and we're old friends. We used to do a little plugging together, and it was great. You guys are a great organization, and as I've always said, I'm very impressed that you guys have built a successful social media platform, not just here with the podcast, but with your individual Instagram accounts and YouTube accounts. And as always, we are brothers in natural bodybuilding, so I give you all tons of respect because we're all working real hard to make ourselves better and make the sport better. So thank you.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's dig a little bit. So simply put, where'd the WPA come from? It was news to me. I'd never seen anything about it before. Obviously, before we come on air here, you mentioned a few things about it, but for those obviously that maybe are like, yo, what's the WPA? New organization, what's the deal? Can you briefly summarize that?
Yep, definitely. And briefly is not my specialty, so feel free to just shut me up if I start talking too much. But look, we're all in natural bodybuilding, and I know where you guys have competed. You know, Leroy, you went through a couple orgs last year. I've been through every org there is except like two. Being twice your age, I've had a lot more time to cover them, But the WPA has been around for a little bit. I think it's probably about 8 or 10 years old. I do not have any deep history or roots in the organization. I'm coming in new, which is actually perfect because we're trying to relaunch the WPA organization. Our world of natural bodybuilding, there's a couple phrases you could use, maybe splintered or fractured. And I don't want to create new splinters or new fractures. And one thing that really appealed to me about the WPA is as they relaunch, or as we relaunch, I should start saying, the goal is to unify and kind of work interorganizationally to really just help make natural bodybuilding better. And we're not here to steal competitors or market share from anyone else. This isn't a regional play where so-and-so gets the West Coast and we're going to take the Midwest and the other guys get the Southeast. Just want to put together really good shows with really good people. And then in 2024, build towards a very nice professional organization with a lot of ideas and a lot of enthusiasm about the betterment of the sport of natural bodybuilding. And that's not to say that it's bad or anyone's doing it wrong, but we have a lot of great ideas and a lot of ideas that I think will ultimately up the game for everybody and specifically for the competitors and athletes. Because if you're not giving them the highest level, or I should say giving us, because we've all been on stage in the past 12 months, right? If you're not giving us the highest level, you're bringing our sport backwards, and no one wants that.
Yeah, so let's touch on the fractured thing, because I think that's really important. And anytime, let's talk about my initial perception. I see the WPA come up. I'm like, okay, another organization. Obviously, then I see your name attached to it. We have a bit of a relationship, so my mind shifts a little bit. But the first thing that comes to mind is, oh, great, another one. We already have 12, 15, 20 natural organizations. What do you want to, because you mentioned unity, right? You want to bring people together, which I think is awesome. What is your kind of goal with that as far as other organizations involved? Is it a specific show? We've been to the Mr. America that is open to bringing people in. What is your kind of vision with that?
Yeah, no, awesome. So first off, let me tell you, I'm friendly with Mark. I talk to him a lot. Mr. America's got a great platform, and I know he's got a lot of great plans. With the WPA, we do have inter-organizational opportunities coming up. I'm not ready to talk about anything yet as I'm still kind of building them. But let me start here. One idea that the WPA had in place before I came on board, and this will actually set the stage for building that kind of non-fractured vibe across natty bodybuilding. One thing that we're doing is we're building an advisory council. So we have just shy of a dozen people that we're confirming, and we're going to be announcing these people on our social media. So I urge everyone listening to log on and follow the official _ WPA on Instagram. But we have a great advisory board coming that consists of pro natty athletes, promoters, organizational people, multimedia producers and photographers and contest promoters who are currently involved in over 7 different federations. They're going to sit on an advisory council towards the WPA. And basically what the council do is have quarterly meetings and questionnaires, like what can we do to make shows better? Hang on a second. One of my 4 dogs.
Guest appearance.
Yeah. How do we make shows better? How do we make stage presence better? How do we make not just that, but business stuff? How do we help promoters to recruit more people? How do we come up with better? My biggest thing, and you guys and I have talked about this, how to create better exposure for our champions. If you win a show, especially a big one, the whole Natty community should know about it. So how do we do those things? So reaching out to the full advisory council, we're going to be representing, like I said, people who work with over 6 different organizations now. And that'll give us the opportunity to feed into the WPA as we grow, and looking forward into 2024 when we build out our professional competitions and put together our Super Bowl of natural bodybuilding to not compete, but to sit in parallel to other organizations' big shows. Put one more really big, great show on the calendar, decent prize money for the pros, great contest experience for the competitors. And then the one piece that I want to really focus on is great exposure for the athletes and champions to keep their personal brand and their careers growing. So it's not just about putting a new slice into the pizza. It's about taking a piece that's already in the pie and just making it better and letting it kind of share its successes across the natural bodybuilding community.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, no, we're psyched.
Yeah, that's awesome. So go ahead, James.
I was just going to say the fact that it seems like, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like this advisory committee is going to be, first off, you said it's across like the whole spectrum of federations, which is fantastic. And I think that's hard to do with certain federations specifically because they seem to.
So it's not every
very much
federation. Let me say that, because
Right.
there are a lot of walls up, and I also want to say we're not looking to stir up the pot. I'm not going to be calling people out or reaching across a wall I'm not welcome to. So that's not the goal.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
Right. No. That's great clarification. The point that I was going to make there was it just seems transparent, right? And I think that's something that's very much missing in a lot of federations. We don't, we know a good amount of the people that are in charge of these federations just from what we do, but the average athlete, it's not listed on the websites, right? You have no idea who you're competing for, competing underneath, who's in charge, who's calling the shots, who's running the Instagram, none of it. It's just this, don't look behind the curtain type deal. So no, I really like that advisory committee because it looks like we'll know who we're speaking to and who's kind of representing you. Because that matters. That matters a lot. People like certain promoters. People have had experiences with certain promoters and they may kind of follow suit.
No, you're so right. I mean, all of us on the phone have, done coaching to some extent or help bring new athletes into natural bodybuilding. And aside from telling people how many squats to do and how many carbs to eat, one crucial piece of advice that we give is this is a great first show, or that might not want to be the first show you do, or why don't you try your foot in this pool? And you're right. The first time competitors or the newer people, they're not seasoned like us who've been around and seen the good and the bad. And, like yourselves, one of my favorite stories to tell is I've done a lot of great shows. I've done the NPC Team Universe, which is as big a stage. I also did a natural bodybuilding show in a closed down roller rink once. Literally, I've been in all spectrums of our sport. And I wish back then, I don't know if I would have done anything different, but I didn't have anyone to ask. So bringing that transparency and having a board that can help put up guardrails or guide rails as the organization grows, it is pretty awesome. And that's one of the things that I was really drawn to when I was given the opportunity to be involved. And it's also a bunch of great people. I wish we had everyone locked in and I could rattle through the list, but it's big names, people you guys know, promoters you would recognize, some multimedia people that do show photography and stuff. So it's going to be great. It's going to be great for me because I'm not a promoter. So I'm learning a lot of the industry, this side of the industry as I go. I'm a competitor and you guys know I work in the supplement industry, but I've never booked a venue. I've never had a deal with a show photographer showing up or not showing up. So
yeah, it's a pain.
It's a lot of fun and a lot of stuff to learn. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. insurance for your shows and pre-registrations and getting a flyer made. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah.
I have a lot of respect for the OG promoters out there from all orgs.
Yeah, running shows is tricky, that's for sure.
Have you guys ever promoted on your own? Or?
Yeah,
Bro,
that's the bit of the underlying joke right now is I'm also in your shoes, so everything you're saying I get a chuckle at because I'm also dealing with the headaches of trying to run a show.
Oh, I didn't. Which tell me, give yourself a plug here. It's your show, you deserve it.
So the three of us are involved with the WNBF. So we're running a WNBF show tentatively in September, kind of local to me. So myself and then obviously Dan and James, my wife, are involved, and then Leo and Charlotte with WNBF Canada. So yeah, I've been chasing around trying to find venues.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome. Good for you. I wish you guys the best of luck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, I know you personally jumped into a couple of orgs last year, and I know you guys have roots with the OCB and Mr. America. So, again, for the normal person coming in who's not, studying this for years the way we do, it's a menagerie of things to digest. So I wish you guys the best of luck. That's awesome. I'm glad. I'm sorry to know that. I do follow along. I must either you're keeping it quiet or I just missed it. So
been keeping it quiet so we have something detailed to tell.
Yeah. you can only post coming soon so many times. So people are like, nah, this guy's bullshit. The one thing I want to mention that I just kind of thought about right now is that, like, people like to us included, like to kind of like downplay and I'm just going to use the term shit on the amount, like how many organizations there are and how it's just so diverse. But the one thing that just kind of popped into my head after listening to you talk is that you can find shows in every organization run by people that are passionate about it. And I think with your obviously excitement and the community you're building for your shows, it's going to be good. With us and Leo and Charlotte, my wife, behind the show, we're going to make it good. And they might be different federations, maybe affiliated, maybe not, whatever. But you can find good shows. You can find good shows within the OCB, within the WNBF, within the CPA. Like, there may not be always good shows. I think that's a given, right? There's going to be shows, like you said, that are going to be running a rundown roller derby or whatever.
Yeah.
But you might find, like, in a calendar year, every organization's got that one banging show. And maybe it's not even their biggest, but they nail the lighting, they nail the atmosphere. It's just a good time, right? And that's something that the three of us are trying to do as well, where it might not be the biggest show on the calendar, but you're going to go there. You're going to have great lighting. You're going to get awesome photos. It's going to be competitive. There's going to be vendors and stuff like that. Like, you're going to go and you're going to have a great time, and you're going to walk out of there being like, okay, that was a good bodybuilding show. Because we've all been
definitely.
We've all been to shows where you're like, if I
don't want to show these pictures to people.
Yeah. Dan's mentioned that. Dan's got photos that he's never posted, and we've all been to shows where it's
always the end of my seasons too.
Yeah,
the best one.
Yeah, where you go to a show and whatever organization it's run by, it's like, you guys kind of dropped the ball on this, and this. And I think that's where people like us that are, like, obviously in the sport as athletes, we're in the sport as competitors, we're in the sport as fans, spectators, you bring this different mindset to, like, it's not even about the money. Like, I don't even care about making money off this. I just want to create something that people are going to go to, like, and be proud to be up there. Like, I rep, because they're representing your show on that stage, and then you're representing them as giving them a platform to compete on, right? So if you kind of just go in there and be like, all right, here's a stage, here's a black curtain, here's a one stage light, bang, bang, done. It just
in this day and age,
create that shitty spot in the sport.
Yeah, and people talk a lot about, like, their personal brand, and you want to give athletes a chance to showcase their personal brand, but you also want your brand and your show to have high quality. So I think I definitely feel that common need from the sport. And then the one thing that I really am committed to, and through me, the WPA would be committed to, is the promotion of the champions, be it a local show, but particularly pros and big shows. I've made a joke, and I don't want to point the finger at any organizations, but there's some titles out there that are amazing titles. Mr. Best Guy in the World. I don't want to use any specific titles because you might know what org I'm talking about.
James, write that down. Mr. Best Guy in the World.
We're gonna take that
but
one.
if you win a title like that, and no one knows who you are or that you won it. It's like if the tree falls in the forest, you can't be Mr. Galaxy and go to a gym and people don't even have any idea. So we
Mhm.
as a community need to make sure that our champions are supported. I mean, look, on the other side in the IFBB world, when Dorian Yates or Sebum walk into a gym, the gym stops because the whole world knows who they are because they've been put on that pedestal. We need to
Mhm.
get our natty guys onto that pedestal because we deserve to be there. They deserve to be there. So that's one thing that I'm really committed to. I know you guys are too, and you guys more committed than anybody. You all put together a gosh dang podcast to go out and promote things. So you're
Yeah.
putting your money where your mouth is on that one. But giving everybody the chance to be out there and be seen and build their personal brands, that's very important to me and the WPA. And as the organization federation continues to grow, we're going to do everything we can. Big idea I have is basically paid social, get some great stage shots of great champions and don't just like put them in your story. We're going to post them on the wall and we're going to support them with paid marketing. So, you can target natural bodybuilding audiences very easily through social media, make sure all the right people are seeing it, make sure that those athletes have great social media to repurpose and reuse, not just at the moment, but throughout the year. Also got to get our TikTok brand growing because we know that's where the 18 to 24-year-old consumers are. And we got to get those shaggy, long-haired kids that think deadlifting 315 for 4 is a big deal. We got to get them into our sport now before we lose them, So
Yeah.
I'm very, very focused on that.
Yeah, the platform for the athlete is obviously a massive missing link.
Mhm.
I mean, I could rhyme off world champion after world champion. Again, like we're in the sport a lot deeper than most, and especially like in natural bodybuilding. Like more people know, even if you're natural, more people can rhyme off enhanced bodybuilders than natural bodybuilders. And
Mhm.
whether that's the side of the sport they follow or whatever, or is it a marketing thing, right? Like are
That's
people
what you
just
see.
not are people just not out there enough? And I don't know. And hopefully, you guys can help remedy that. Obviously, that's something we're trying to do with Natty News, is to just give
Yeah.
people more of an audience and stuff like that, right? Like I'll share, on my personal page something that we've posted on Natty News, and people will be like, "Who is that?" And to me, it's like,
Mhm.
"What do you mean, who is that?" Like the amount of people that follow me that I'm close with that have no idea who Brian Whitaker is, Siobhan Cunningham, Doug Miller, like these are all
Mhm.
pivotal names in our sport, but they don't have the platform. And I mean, some of them are athletes of years prior, but still there's a lot of big names now like Bada or Mishak and stuff like that. Like I'll share their photos and people be
Yeah.
like, "Whoa, like who are these guys?" And I'm like, "World
Yeah.
Mhm.
How
champions.
do you not
What do
know?
you
This is Mr.
yeah,
America. Yeah.
yeah, what are you
It's a
talking
big
about?"
deal.
But then it translates even farther where they're like, "Wait, what's Mr. America? Wait, what's WMBF Worlds? Wait, what's the Yorton Cup?" Like that's also where our side of the sport lacks, is that in our niche, within our niche, people are aware, but outside of that, and even in natural bodybuilding, people that aren't as deep as some others, they don't
Right.
know, right? Like when I was saying, when we went down to Mr. America, people are like, "Oh, what's that? What is
Mhm.
that
Well, like,
show?" And then they would see it and they're like, "Whoa, this is great." And then there's that
so look,
awareness to
if
it. But
I love the history of bodybuilding and the history of our sport, and I really like respect it as like like a family bloodline, if you will. And I mean, I don't necessarily know if I like Joe Weider or don't like him because I never met him, but from everything I've learned of reading about the Weeders, I mean, he built the magazine empire to support the competition empire, to support his barbell empire. He included supplements in it, and it was that the media part that he built, which is ultimately what made him all his money. That originally was just a tool to promote all the other shit he was trying to do, right?
Mhm.
So the promotion piece is the most critical piece. I mean, by the time the Weeder brand sold to American media didn't buy a barbell company and a bunch of like, chalky powder supplements in old tin cans like Weeder was in the 80s. They bought the Mr. Olympia, they bought Muscle and Fitness, they bought Flex magazine. That media piece, that promotion piece, that's what we need, and I know you guys are doing it, and that's what we're going to do with the WPA and for our athletes. So it's a
yeah,
great opportunity,
yeah,
and you're right, it is all about the athletes.
back in the day, they used to like scratch and claw to be sponsored by Weeder, right? Like if you had that, that
There
meant
was
like if
nothing
you,
else.
yeah, well, and then you were basically attached with a jetpack, like it was off you go, right? And that's where our sport is missing, right? Where a lot of people, they get signed by these big companies and then it's just to the moon, right? Whereas natural bodybuilding doesn't have that. Where,
Yep.
you know, take you guys, for example, if you are a WPA pro or a WPA best man in the world champion, if you win that, like not only is that a title, but that could be a bit of a rocket ship for your personal brand, for your career as an athlete, right? Right now, we have titles that you can win that you can like put up on your wall and be like, damn, I did it. But it doesn't do you much else. Like really.
Right. You're so right. No, you're so right.
And I think that's where there's a big missing piece that like if people can create these shows, these titles, these platforms that then athletes want to come compete at whatever organization it is, because they know it's going to serve them not only as an athlete, right? We all want to do well, win
the
titles.
personal brand. Yeah.
Yeah. If you can put me up on a pedestal a little bit, not just as an athlete, but then to like grow, because then I grow, then you grow, and it all is, you know, symbiotic at that point, right? That's
great word.
That's where we're missing. Yeah, symbiotic.
So so look, out of respect for time, I'm going to touch on a couple hot points here. So one great thing, WPA, one question everyone's going to ask, it is a urine tested organization using the SMRTL testing. So everything from SARMs to diuretics, it's all wrapped in there. I personally love that because while I've never failed a polygraph test, I've also never enjoyed one. So it's nice to not have to take that 2 hours of stress the night before to sit outside the little room in the hotel to then go in there and feel guilty as fuck about like any question you're asked, because that's how polygraphs make you feel. So really proud about that. Big focus on quality of the production of the events. We want, you said it great. Lighting has to be good. Photographer has to be good. I mean, you know, there's nothing worse than coming in really good and the photographer was set up for a stadium show and you wind up at a hotel and he's got the wrong lens and your photos aren't right. So none of that. Also looking to build an international presence with the WPA, and we're currently in talks with a lot of Asian countries, India, Singapore, Thailand, about building an international schedule. In the beginning, it would be incorporating pro status from other pros and welcoming them into the organization for 2024. And then I also, and this is a wormhole we can't afford to go down right now because we'll be on this podcast for like 4 hours, refining the Natty Pro Card qualification process, because it's either way too hard or way too easy, depending on what show you show up to. So I have a lot of good ideas. I don't want to say them out yet because we might use some of them. But how do you make sure that someone who gets the pro card deserves it? And even if they do deserve it, how do you make sure it's not just someone that showed up for the first time and walked right into a pro card? Because I don't think that's fair either. There should be, like the NPC has some level of qualification and then some level of going for the gold, so to speak. So those are the type of ideas we're going to run through the council, get their guidance, implement in our shows. 2023, we have about a dozen shows scheduled, and I am going to read the list off because I'm not going to miss this valuable airtime to not plug stuff because I know how to do it. And then 2024 is going to be really the big year. We're going to come out with hopefully double the amount of shows, pro shows, and then a big end of the year world championship type show to play in with the World Physique Alliance naming convention. But get your pens out, everybody, because here we go. April 15th, DFW, the Rockstar Classic, promoted by my good friend Q. So that's going to be awesome. 5/13, Sugar Hill Showdown, Sugar Hill, Georgia. 6/5, the East Coast Naturals. That's going to be in Virginia. 7/29, that's July, the Ohio All-State Natural. 8/12, the Florida Fury. That's my show. I won it 2 years ago, and I'm promoting it now, so I'm pretty psyched. The following week, the Mighty Mash in Richmond, Virginia. Following week from there, the Sword of the Titans. That's going to be outside DC. Coming into the holiday weekend, we're going to have the Show Me State Classic. And then locking down dates and venues in the fall will be another Florida show, the Florida Surge, the Trident Classic. And I do think we'll have at least 2, hopefully 4 international shows locked in as the year goes on. And the goal is to have double that amount of shows in 2024. So we're off to a great start. We're really excited. Any competitors in those regions, take a look. We've also kind of run through the local schedules around there, and most of the shows everywhere are timed a week before or a week after. There might be another show. So we're trying to give competitors that respect to get more than one shot on stage out of your contest prep, which is another kind of thing that guys like you and us get, first timers, you and I get, and first timers might not see. So a lot of value, a lot of great shows, great promotion, and pure drug tested bodybuilding.
Beautiful. I
Yeah.
love it, man. Awesome.
Yeah.
So if people want to learn more, find out more, where do they go?
Right now, we're steering people to the Instagram page till the website launches. Website's about a week or two away. As I mentioned, we got a late start in 2023. So the official _WPA. The old organization's Instagram page is still out there, but the password was lost. So you got to come to this one. And I
Sweet.
urge everyone to check it. What do you call it? Contest flyers are going up now. Full schedule will be out this week. And then we're going to be rolling out the advisory council, and I'll be able to do some fun social media stuff, talking to whoever's on it and announcing them and debuting them. So pretty exciting for us. We're really pumped.
Beautiful. There you go, people. All the
Cool.
information about the WPA you can find on their Instagram. Stay tuned. Keep an eye out for more information to come. And obviously hit up Chris if you have any direct questions. I'm sure he'll be happy to answer.
Yep. And before we leave, I just got to give you guys the props that I've always given you. You guys do such a great job. You've built something here. I give you guys all the credit. Kids coming in, what these three guys do here is more important than setting up your selfie stick at the gym to film, a set of hip thrusts or something like that. If you really want to put out content that people are interested in, you have to do more than just showcase yourself. You guys do that. You do a great job of it, and I've always been a big fan. So continued props to y'all.
We appreciate it,
Appreciate
man.
that.
Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
Chris.
Yep.
And with
No
that
worries.
being said, if you guys enjoyed the episode, give us a like, let us know, follow us on Instagram, all that good stuff, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.